Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about the JHK forecast for the 2020 presidential election. So basically on your screen here, this is their presidential forecast, and I just wanted to take a look at their forecast and just explain some of the data that they have come out with. So currently they give Joe Biden an 81.8% chance of winning the presidency and Donald Trump an 18.2% chance of winning his re-election. I think that this is a little bit more biased towards Biden than to Trump, but I think that this is still pretty close to what most projections give Trump and Biden. But 20% might not seem like too much, or 18%, but I would definitely take an 18% chance of winning the presidency. Trump only had a 30% chance of winning it last time, and I think that anyway, he was still able to win. So I think that these chances really do not matter. I think it's really how people vote on election night and how Trump or Biden try to sway voters onto their side. I think definitely at this point Trump will lose the election if the election were held today or tomorrow, but I think that definitely there are still 2-3 months to go. I think Trump can definitely do a lot of things to get the voters back on his side. It's looking at this map, basically all of the traditionally Democratic states you see in all of the blue, and all of the Republican states you see in the red. What's interesting is, states like Nevada, Minnesota, and New Hampshire that went to Hillary Clinton by less than 3%, Minnesota 1.5%, New Hampshire 0.4%, and Nevada 2.4%. Nevada state that Trump was expected to win in 2016. But looking at all of these three states, Joe Biden has 86% in Minnesota and Vermont of winning, and then 85% in Nevada. So Joe Biden is doing very well in some of the closer states that Hillary Clinton won. And as long as he wins all these safe Democratic states, Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Nevada, Joe Biden will have 232 electoral votes, the same amount that Hillary Clinton won. So basically, he has an over 86% chance of getting 232 electoral votes. And then some of the interesting states that are on the Biden column right now: Arizona, 62% for Joe Biden to 37% for President Trump, a state that went to Trump and the Republicans for quite a while, around 2 to 3 decades, I believe. The last time a Democrat won was Bill Clinton in 1996. However, Biden is definitely expected to carry this state now because of all of the new voters moving into Phoenix. Phoenix is the fastest growing city in the entire country, and it's a lot of Latino and Hispanic voters moving into Arizona, and those voters do almost directly translate to Democratic voters for Joe Biden. And then the state of Florida, 73% chance for Joe Biden. Joe Biden has a bigger chance of winning the state of Florida than Arizona. I think that's just pretty interesting considering how close Florida always is. But I think 73%, that is pretty fair for Biden. He has been polling very well in the state of Florida this entire election cycle. So I think that definitely Florida is more likely to go to Biden than to Hillary Clinton in 2016. She was not expected to win this state, but she lost it by an even larger margin than her polling average. And then the state of North Carolina is 60% for Joe Biden and 40% for Donald Trump. I think this is a little bit more swayed towards Biden. I think it's really around a 53-47 for Biden right now. But I think North Carolina definitely a bigger chance of going to Biden than to Trump, just because of how much it's moved to the left in recent years. And then the state of Ohio, 42% for Biden, 57% for President Trump. I think this is going to be, I still think Biden is going to carry the state of Ohio. I really think that he's going to flip the state. Barack Obama won the state with him both times by pretty strong margins. Trump was able to flip it pretty strongly, and I think that Biden will be able to flip the state back in 2020. But Iowa, I don't think so. I think that Iowa is going to go to Trump by a larger margin than Ohio, because I don't think Trump's going to win Ohio. But Iowa, definitely, I think Trump is going to win, just because Ohio went to Trump by such a large margin in 2016, and it's been moving more and more to the right recently. And then the state of Georgia, 45-54. I think this is pretty fair. Just state of Georgia, pretty close in 2020. I think it's definitely going to be a swing state in 2024 and 2028. But 2020, I think it can be classified as a swing state, definitely. But I think that it's more of a Trump state right now. And then the state of Texas, 67% chance of Trump winning. That is not good for a Republican incumbent in the state of Texas. The state has not voted for a Democrat since Jimmy Carter in 1976. So I think definitely not a good sign for Trump. But his polling averages has been increasing in Texas. It's now around 3%. Biden was leading in the state a couple of weeks ago, so that is a positive sign for President Trump, but definitely not good. That's definitely not something you want to see. But Biden, he is setting up offices in the state. I don't think he really has to do that. He doesn't even need Texas, but definitely a good sign for the Democratic Party as a whole in the state of Texas. And then the three Rust Belt states, of course, 83% in Pennsylvania, 87% in Michigan, 79% in Wisconsin. I think that these three states, these are going to cost Donald Trump the election. New Hampshire has an 86% chance of winning, a state that went to Hillary Clinton in 2016. Michigan, 87% for Biden, a state that Donald Trump won in 2016. So these three states, I think they're definitely the three most important states. And I talked about these states in more detail yesterday. So if you want to check that video out after this one, I will try to link it in the description below. But these three states definitely the most important states, in my opinion, in the 2020 presidential election. And moving down here, basically, they give out the average electoral vote and popular vote margins for either candidate. 338 electoral votes for Biden, 200 for Trump, and the average for the popular vote is 52% for Biden, 44% for President Trump. That is an 8% swing in favor of Joe Biden. I do not think that is going to happen. I think it's going to be more of a 5-6%, because 8%, that is quite a bit. And then looking at their chances of winning, Joe Biden has, of course, an 82% chance right now. But really, I think the turning point, looking at all of these graphs, really the turning point of this election was early June and late May, where the BLM protests sparked all across the country. And since then, Biden's lead has been pretty flat. As you can see, basically it was flat up here, Biden went up, and now it's flat again. So looking at all of these graphs, it's really the beginning of June that really changed this election. Trump was expected to win this election by most bettors before this point in June. However, after that, Biden's number just went up catastrophically, and Trump's dropped down. He currently has a 18% chance of winning the election. And then looking at this little bar graph, I guess, basically what this is that they plot out all of these states. So the most blue states are on this side: DC, Hawaii, Vermont, Massachusetts, very Democratic states. And then the closer the states they are, the closer they are to the right. Of course, Trump with his solid states, and then some of his toss-up states that he is expected to win. Basically, just the map plotted in a different way. And looking at this, as you can see, he does not need Florida to win. He does not need Arizona to win. He does not need Nebraska 2nd District to win. He does not need North Carolina to win, nor does he need the 2nd District of Maine to win. All he needs is Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, and he will win the election. So this really just shows how easy it is for Biden to win and how hard it is for Trump to win. Trump would have to win Florida, 29 electoral votes, Arizona, 11, the 2 congressional districts, North Carolina, and Wisconsin to win the election, or Pennsylvania or Michigan, just one of the three. So definitely the election is looking much better for Biden than it is for Trump. He can lose all 5 of these states right here, or the 2 districts, and then 3 states. He can lose all 5 of them and still win the election. And then this basically just shows where each candidate's electoral votes are coming from. Bigger states like California, of course, the bigger circle. Texas, still pretty big, 38 electoral votes. Then smaller states get smaller circles here. And basically, this just shows, most of the Northeast is all for Biden. Biden's getting most of his electoral votes from the Northeast as well as the West Coast, along with the Midwest and Florida. That is basically where Biden is expected to get his electoral votes. And then Trump from most of rural America and the Midwest. And then the tipping point states, these are basically the states that are going to bring either candidate over 270, and then these are the polling averages out of these states. Like in the state of Florida, Democrats plus 4.3, Biden plus 4.3, Pennsylvania, Biden plus 6.4, Michigan plus 8, Wisconsin plus 5.7, North Carolina 1.5. The list goes down. Biden's leading in many key states. Ohio and Georgia, Trump leads them by very small margins. Iowa, Texas, very small margins again. But Trump does have a 3.3% lead in the state of Texas right now, which is a positive sign for his campaign, as he was down in the state of Texas just a couple of weeks ago. And then the chances of becoming tipping Florida is definitely, I think this is a pretty accurate representation. I think Florida is going to be the tipping point state. I think the state is going to be the state that brings Biden over 270. I predict that states like Michigan and Pennsylvania will be called first, and I think Florida will be called before Wisconsin. So I think that's going to be Florida that is going to bring Joe Biden over the 270 electoral votes that he needs to win the presidency. And so if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like as well as subscribing to my channel. I would really appreciate that. I really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me. We are very close to reaching 350 subscribers. So if you could subscribe to me, I would really appreciate that. And I will see you in the next video.